This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's number one show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And I am very, very glad to be back here in the studio. Got Tony Crow, Andy, got the Queen in the building. And we're going to go ahead and break this game down. It's a special time tonight, 9:15. I don't remember if I've seen the Knicks play at 9:15. I don't know, but they play at 9:15 tonight in Minnesota. And yeah, let's go ahead and get this one going. Tony, what's popping with you, my man? How you feeling?
What's going on, Sam? Shout out to the chat. Peace, Queen, International Andy. Your blackest time.
No doubt. Andy, what's going on with you, man?
What up, Sim? Happy that you are back in the studio because that allows me to be on the panel.
Right.
Yeah, what up, Tone? What up, Steph? Steph, if you guys are not subscribed to Those Whole Sports Talk, go ahead. I watch it daily. I even repeat and watch it again, rewatch them. So they're cool episodes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I
if you
think
get
she's
that
far away.
from
Think you
Europe,
far away,
sign
right?
in the Google Analytics, it's me.
I'm looking for a co-host. Be if you want to hop on, Andy, hop on.
I think
we
you
can
far
talk
away,
about it.
Queen.
Yeah, and Sim,
Oh,
just
really?
just
I think so.
just to about the 9-15 game, it's because the NBA today they have scheduled all teams playing, so each game starts a quarter after each other. So
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Steph, what's going on with you?
Oh man, I'm good, Sam. Glad you're back, Tony, Andy. I feel like I haven't been on a panel in a very long time, so I'm happy to be
It's
back.
been a long time. Last week was a rough week. I mean, literally, every day I had to drive 2 hours to practice and then 2 hours back to my hotel. And like my conference didn't finish until 4 p.m. At least that's when I left the conference. Then I'd have to drive 2 hours, and with traffic, it was normally 2.5 hours for practice. And then in the evening time, drive back to the conference another 2 hours. And I was just exhausted. I wasn't getting back to the hotel until 12:30. Then I just didn't feel like setting up. I'm not even gonna front. I was like, I can't set up. I'm too tired for all of that.
Be right here and don't want to say.
But I appreciate everybody for sticking with me, man. And I'm back, and I don't have to travel for a little while, at least for game times and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, let's get into it, man. The injury report for the Knicks is the same as versus Boston. Quentin Grimes. Well, Quentin Grimes is questionable, and Mitchell Robinson is out.
Boy.
And this is seeming like it's going to be all season long for Quentin Grimes. You know what I mean? He played, 2 games, and then he's out. It's the same thing in the preseason. He played a game, then he's out. Comes back, plays 2 games, and then he's out.
Those Noel vibes, I'm telling you.
Right. People keep talking about when he comes back and, what he can provide, but I'm starting to feel like I'm not even trying to count on him because I don't feel like he's going to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm right now, I'm just like, all right, if Tom Thibodeau's pulling Evan Fournier out of the lineup, just rock with Cam Reddish. As long as he's healthy, just rock with Cam Reddish until further notice. You know what I'm saying? He's playing defense well. His length adds, he adds length to the starting unit. He's been able to knock down a shot. We'll see if he gets into a groove and gets comfortable. I know him and Julius Randle, if you seen my video yesterday, him and Julius Randle need to get that perimeter defense together, though, and figure out who's guarding the roller, who's guarding the ball handler, who's guarding the shooter, because we can't have performances like, well, not even just the Celtics, the last 2 games. You know what I mean? Who was it? Philadelphia hit 23 threes against us, and Boston knocked down 27 threes against us. You know? Tony, with Cam in that lineup, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I actually like that starting lineup that's there. You know, I think it looks pretty good with the added length from Cam Reddish, the rebounding from Hartenstein. I think he's a better rebounder than Mitch. He's obviously a better shooter than Mitch. I think he has a better basketball IQ than Mitch.
Better passer.
Better passer than Mitch. He's just not a better rebounder, and he's not as athletic. But I actually kind of like that unit and feel like it could develop to something. What do you think, Tone?
I mean, I agree. Especially, the addition of Cam. This is what I was kind of asking for early on with not necessarily asking for, but wishing for the possibility. I like him and RJ's switchability. I agree. Him and Randall have had lapses on their switching. But I like him and RJ's switchability. Maybe that's just because of their rapport going back to Duke and knowing who likes to do what. But overall, his addition of defense, on ball defense in that lineup has been good. And Hartenstein, you mentioned everything he does, all facets of the game. It just opens up the offense completely. I think offensively, this has been the best we've seen. Especially that last game. That might have been our best offensive game, minus maybe the 3-point percentage, which I think is just as much as an issue as much as our perimeter defense. But I think it's all a work in progress, and it looks good overall. We just gotta get some wins out of it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm gonna come to Andy with this question. 96 Till said the defensive difference is huge between Mitch and Hartenstein, which I agree. Mitch is definitely a better defender. But do you think what Hartenstein brings on the offensive side, the rebounding side, and the hustle side, do you think it makes up for that lack of defense?
Well, me personally, I think it's worth the change, even in the starting lineup, if it's going to be for a longer period of time. The change between Fournier and Cam, we got to see more games, of course. The Hartenstein change, I think you see the difference actually from the first time he started. Mitch alters more shots. He has that reputation that guys are not going to go under the rim versus the Knicks.
Right.
Meanwhile, they are still testing out Hartenstein. And, if he does good these first couple of games, I think, that reputation that you don't go under the hoop versus the Knicks might be, still standing. So that would be something good. Now, just the Knicks Achilles heel is the perimeter defense, which I'm gonna judge after a couple of games with Fournier out of the lineup, because at this moment, we all know everybody blamed Fournier. Fournier went to the bench. The Celtics come into town and get a franchise record of threes. So you ain't blaming down on Fournier, fam. So.
Steph, what do you think about the perimeter defense? We talked about this perimeter defense way before these previous 2 games, right? We were talking about and a little bit nervous about that perimeter defense. And so far, what we've talked about has come to fruition. Can they fix it?
I mean, let's see. with all due respect to Andy and Fournier, I think putting Cam in the starting lineup is a first step. But all due respect to Fournier and Andy again, that's not the only problem. That's not the 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 biggest problem for the Knicks in terms of that perimeter defense. Some of it is hustle, but some of it, as far as covering the three, it's hard to pinpoint one thing because it's different things at different times with different players,
Yeah.
right? Some players, are we switching or are we hedging and getting back to our, like, what are we doing here? So you see some of that. You see some dribble penetration with over rotation. You'll see like on that and some of it was just poor defensive IQ. On one possession, Randall double teaming Smart, who's posting up Cam. Cam
Right.
doesn't need help.
Doesn't need help. Exactly.
You want Jalen Brown. So you're going to double team, turn your back on the double team. Jalen
Right.
Brown repositions himself smart because he's posting up. You can see, so it's going to take more than just that switch. They're going to have to get themselves together. As far as the iHeart point, I like iHeart in the starting lineup if our perimeter defense is better, right? Because that's one thing Mitch does was covered up the the poorest perimeter defense and them getting in the
Yeah.
lane. But if you have better wing defenders, that might not be much of an issue. And I will also say, I think iHeart is an underrated rim protector. And so to Andy's point, I want to see more of him because rim protection, block shots rate coming into this season, he was one of the tops.
Right.
Given his minutes played. So let's see.
Yeah. And looking at the last two games, it wasn't even the rim protection. It's the
Right.
outside shooting.
Right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying? It's the
right,
outside
right.
shooting.
Right.
But definitely he's a better rim protector, faster. He can, spread the floor vertically. He does some things that iHeart can't
Right.
do. But, I agree. If they can shore up that perimeter defense, he might look it might be a really, really good fit with him there. I just
Right.
don't know if they can. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead, Tony.
A couple things. I don't know if he makes up for Mitch's absence. Like I firmly believe we need them both. Like we need them both to complete the team and what we're trying to do. One of the issues is the individual defense. Our defense individually is not that great. Where Mitch is making up for some of that.
Right.
So for Hartenstein to come in, the team defense is going to have to be superb for him to flourish. Now, if the team defense improves, then I think he actually can make up for the absence of Mitchell Robinson because of all the intangible things that Mitch is not capable of doing. But we need him healthy and back, regardless. You know what I mean? For that change of pace, for that
Right.
different direction
Right.
at that position. You know what I mean? Whether it's starting or not, or yeah, whether he's starting or not, like we're gonna need Mitch in his absence. You know what I mean? Like because even putting in Sims, he doesn't have the defensive attributes that Mitch has either. So it's not like
At least
he
in
has some of
blocking.
the lob threats and things of that nature, strength,
Yeah.
but it's not identical on that defensive end.
Right. At least in blocking shots, it's not. I think he does. I mean, he does some things better than Mitch, in my opinion, too. Is on the defensive side, for example, he does a really good job of coming out to help trap the guard and then getting back under the basket and finding his man. Right. I think he does a really good job doing that.
But is he gonna stop anybody? You know what I mean? Like he'll get a block here and there. I don't know if he even deters the people like Mitch does.
No,
Like
no.
Mitch might not even have to block
No.
the shot, but they're gonna think about it before they take it.
Right. Well, the thing about Mitch is his length, and Sims just doesn't have that length,
Yeah.
and neither does Hartenstein. His length is really one of the big things that changes people's shot. You know what I mean? And neither
Yeah.
one of those guys have that. Andy, you were
I mean,
getting ready to say something.
Oh, hey.
Yes, for me, the defensive problem, we can, because fans are now talking if it's on the players or if it's on the coaching staff or and the coach. For me, it's clearly the scheme. Why I'm gonna say that? We even saw IQ in your breakdown, Sim. He is camping in the paint to get those rebounds. Last game, Obi had a couple of defensive rebounds. We didn't see him get one fast break bucket because he was staying back to get those defensive rebounds. For me, it's clearly the scheme. And I'm not defending Fournier here. I'm not defending no one on the perimeter, because it's the NBA. You can always get beat. But I think
Right.
Tibbs needs to adjust the switching on top of the perimeter and stuff like that, or at least see if a team gets hot from three, we gotta switch it up a little bit on the perimeter,
Yeah.
and maybe let them try to beat us from the paint,
S-
because the word is out on the league. You're just gonna shoot versus the Knicks.
Yeah. See,
But
my only
switch it up
thing.
how though?
Yeah.
I'm
That.
sorry, so
No. No. Go ahead, Steph. Go ahead.
but like switch it up how? Because sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes they're too far in the key. I've seen that, but not all the time. Sometimes it's they're right there, and it's a screen that they don't fight over, or they fight over, and both of them go to the same, to the same guy. It's different things at different times.
Yeah. Yeah. Because sometimes a guard can be so fast, or a screen can be set so well, you have no choice but to switch, right? And somebody, like, who's the communicator? Who is yelling out, "We're switching," so that both players know we're going to switch, and now you've got to cover the shooter or whoever it is that you have to cover. It's like they're not communicating. You know what I'm saying? I can see once, maybe twice, that two players go to the ball handler. That happens sometimes. But on every single play, like that's just bad communication, and either they're not stressing it enough in practice, or one of those two guys between Cam. It's not just Cam and Julius. It's other people too. Doing the same thing. So that is where I kind of agree. Maybe it's not being stressed enough in practice. To call out the switches and communicate on who's going to switch with who and when and how, why, all of that
Yeah, and
stuff.
Sim, I really think that that's already set up in the locker room. That, for example, you're going to try to do this and you're going to try to do that. It's not like they can adjust it from the player's perspective. So it's not like Randall and Cam, they are communicating. The scheme is set that the pass, we attack the guy with the ball, and then we're going to risk what's going to happen with the pass. That's why, for me, it's at this point, at least, we see only a couple of games of Cam with Randall, right? But for example, the rest of the guys, when they play with Randall, it might be, most of the time probably on Randall, but the guards are way too fast for him to cover, so much ground.
Right.
So I think it should be, more of a communication standpoint from the weaker defender, which probably is Randall. So he or Sim, or if it's the scheme from set up from the top. For example, if they use a pick and roll from John Morant and Steven Adams, I rather see Adams kill us than Ja.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I hear
And
you.
then just double it on Ja, and let someone else beat you,
Right.
because
Yeah.
that's a hard pill to swallow if someone gets 40 on you
Right.
and is still beating up on you.
Right. 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 And I will say, when you go back and you look at some of the threes that Jaylen Brown got, and you're right, not really Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, a lot of his threes were off the dribble, pulling up right in front
Yeah.
of you. And some of these other guys the Celtics were running some different screen actions. The screens were coming from different areas and different angles, and it'd be one or two screens and coming from different spots, and it confused a lot of the players. You know what I mean? So hopefully they got it on tape and they can look at it, and the next time we play the Celtics, or the next time they see similar type of screen and rolls, they understand what's happening and what's going on. let's move on and start looking at these lineups and stuff. Rudy Gobert, he's out for the Minnesota Timberwolves due to COVID protocol. Right, so there's another starting center out versus the Knicks. I think the last 3 games is going to be that the starting center was out, right? Joel Embiid was out versus Philadelphia. Al Horford was out versus Boston, and now Rudy Gobert is out versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll see if the Knicks can. Well, Mitchell Robinson is out for the Knicks as well, so I don't know if there's going to be any. Well, could be a tough matchup for Hartenstein. He's got to guard Karl Anthony Towns because that's who's running center position. All right, looking at the lineups, projected lineups for the Knicks: Jalen Brunson, Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson, and Karl Anthony Towns at the center spot. Right, so just looking at, I guess we can start with the point guard matchup. Jalen Brunson had a pretty good game against the Boston Celtics. 22 points, 10 assists, I think it was. He's been kind of on and off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? As the Knicks are hopefully rounding into shape, but played a really good game. As a matter of fact, against the Celtics was maybe the first time that Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and R.J. Barrett all had good games together. Hopefully they can repeat that tonight. But, Tony, what do you think about this matchup, Jalen Brunson and D'Angelo Russell? If, in fact, that is who Jalen Brunson will be guarding.
As far as like head to head or numbers wise.
Yeah, head to head. I don't have the numbers wise for both of them, but I can look that up real quick as we're going, as you're talking.
I think it's close to a wash, but I'm gonna give Brunson the edge just based off of IQ. So I think his good decisions should make him win the matchup over some of Russell's questionable decisions throughout the game. So I think it's a pretty even matchup, but I'll give Brunson the edge just based off of, not making those mistakes, not turning the ball over,
Right.
and things of that nature. But I think it's close. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah. Jalen Brunson is averaging 19 points, 7 assists per game. He's shooting well from the field. I think we all expected him to shoot pretty well from the field. He's shooting 49% from the field, but only 29% from the three-point line. I'm going to pull up D'Angelo Russell's numbers real quick, but I want to ask Andy what he thinks about this matchup here.
I believe, like Tony, that this is going to be a closer matchup than Knicks fans think. I would say maybe a little bit edge for Brunson, but I think the 3-point shooting from Russell might balance it out.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell on the season so far is averaging 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. He is shooting. Well, he's only shooting 27.8% from the 3-point line and 38% from the field. So he's not
that's
shooting
a drop
too well.
off then.
Yeah,
that's a drop off then.
Right, and we don't want him to get hot tonight. You know what I mean? Steph, any thoughts? Well, any thoughts about Jalen Brunson and D'Angelo Russell, and then your thoughts? Because right now, if you look at the lineups, Cam Reddish at shooting guard is matched up with Anthony Edwards, R.J. Barrett with Jaden McDaniels. I think that probably switches. I think you probably have R.J. Barrett and Anthony Edwards and Cam Reddish on Jaden McDaniels. Your thoughts, Steph?
As far as Brunson and Russell, I would give Brunson on the edge. I think Russell has a different role on this team, right? With Edwards and Edwards and Towns. But the Knicks let Control get hot. The Knicks let Hauser get hot. You know what I mean? So Brunson still can't fall asleep,
Right.
in that matchup, even though Russell is not shooting well. But I would keep Cam Reddish on Anthony Edwards. I mean, McDaniels may be taller than Barrett, but
Mhm.
he's not as big of an offensive threat as Anthony Edwards is. And I think with Cam's length, and his, how he fights over screens, his quick hands, he might be a better matchup against Anthony Edwards than RJ Barrett, who, in my opinion, is really not a good defensive player. I think he has his moments on the wing,
Okay.
but he gets picked off really easy.
He
Like,
does.
in terms of like how you get skinny and try to so they don't hit you full on, forget it. That's not happening. So I would keep Cam Reddish on Anthony Edwards.
Okay. All right. And it also helps to save RJ Barrett's energy a little bit too. Right? If he's
Offensive end.
if he
Yeah.
doesn't have to guard Anthony Edwards, he's gonna, at some point in time he's gonna switch off onto him anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the beauty of having no knock, Andy, on Evan Fournier, right? I was a proponent of him starting, and if Tom Thibodeau starts him again, I'm cool. But I think that is a benefit of having Cam Reddish out there. His length, I think, makes it easier to be able to switch. I think he has a little bit more speed with his footwork and things like that. Makes it easier for him to switch on to different people out there. Tony, your thoughts? Cam Reddish, Anthony Edwards, RJ Barrett, Jaden McDaniels.
Queen stole my thunder because that's exactly where I was going to. At first I was agreeing with you that they might flip flop, but right before Queen said it, I was thinking it may be better for us if we have Reddish guarding Edwards, just to make it difficult, make him fight for everything a little bit more. I think it's less chance that, excuse me, they're working outside. There's less chance of Cam per se getting into the foul trouble than RJ, and even if it happens, you could flip flop. They could switch at times. You could change the matchup. But even from the perspective of Anthony Edwards kind of getting up for RJ and wanting to, he has that history of the comments said in the past about we want him to take those shots and things of that nature. This is a new look for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
He hasn't really faced Cam, at least on this team. So I think it could kind of get into his psyche, especially if he comes off early with some good defensive efforts.
Right.
And then like you said, he'll get on RJ will get on him from here and there, now and again.
Yeah, and he has some respect for Cam offensively, right? You heard the video when the Knicks traded for Cam Reddish. The video was going around of him talking about AAU and some things that Cam did in AAU and those kind of things. He's yet to do that in the NBA consistently. We'll see if it ever happens, but defensively, I agree. I think we could see him on Anthony Edwards. Tom Thibodeau has done a few different things defensively, I think, this season. You know what I'm saying? When he put Evan Fournier and Donovan Mitchell, I was like, all right, trying to figure out what he was thinking. The only thing I could think to that is that he felt like, and I'm not trying to get on Evan Fournier, Andy, but maybe he felt like Donovan Mitchell was going to get his regardless. We'll put Evan Fournier and Donovan Mitchell. If he gets his, he gets his, and we'll see if we can play better defense on some of those other players, with RJ and Randall and Brunson and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? But it took me by surprise, without a doubt. So we'll see what Tom Thibodeau comes up with this time. Kyle Anderson, Julius Randle, Kyle Anderson. I mean, Julius Randle should win that matchup, right? But Kyle Anderson is a guy that can shoot the three, and Julius Randle has not done well defending three-point shooters. Every time there's a power forward or somebody that can shoot the three that Julius Randle is guarding, I worry. I'm not going to lie, because he just doesn't do a good job of really defending those guys. Now, Kyle Anderson is shooting 50% from three, but he's not attempting many threes so far this season. He's shooting 65% from the field. I mean, he's only averaging 4.5 points per game. You know what I'm saying? But he can shoot it. And it'd be our luck this be the night that he goes off. Like, who was the other dude the other day that went off? He came into the game averaging 2 points a game.
Hauser.
No, not Hauser. There was somebody else a couple of games ago.
There was one guy each game, Sim.
Yeah, that's true. Concha in Memphis, but that was the first game. You talking about the Atlanta game?
That's a fact.
Maybe
Andy.
it was the Atlanta game.
Or Cleveland, Wade.
I don't know if I don't remember who it was.
Wade,
but it was,
Dean Wade.
But it was
there
some guy.
plenty
He
guys.
came into the game averaging 2 points per game, and then he had like 16 at half or something crazy. I was like, come on, man, this is crazy. But hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. You know what I mean? But I would expect Julius Randle to win that matchup. And then you got Hartenstein and Karl Anthony Towns. That, Karl Anthony Towns can post. He can shoot it from the perimeter. I don't know. Steph, your thoughts on that
All on the
matchup?
floor as well.
Put it on the floor. Yeah, your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough matchup for Hartenstein. So we may see Sims, who can move his feet some. He can move his feet. He could play laterally. We may see the small ball lineup. I'm okay with like Randall's on ball defense is okay. So even though he's given up some height to his name escapes me, to Cat, in terms of being able to stop the drive, I'm okay with that. I think Randall for me is more of his help, his help defense. iHeart, he's going to take iHeart out because you have to respect his 3-point shooting, and he can put the ball on the floor. So I see iHeart in foul trouble.
Yeah, this could be a tough matchup. I mean, he should have defended him. I can't even say he's used to defending him because iHeart was coming off the bench. He may not have seen a lot of time on Karl Anthony Towns when he was with the Clippers. You know what I mean?
Right.
This could be a new experience for him. Tony.
Who's the 4?
Kyle Anderson.
Slow mo
Anderson
from the Spurs.
Because I don't see why you can't see the small ball lineup tonight with Randall guarding Towns, considering on a normal occasion that would have been his matchup anyway. So you can plug him at the 5, periodically, and like I see a lot of that happening tonight at some point, especially if foul trouble for Hartenstein or just matchup problem. We may see that, and then the adjustment is made at the 4 spot, whether it's Hartenstein guarding the 4 or Obi coming in and playing Anderson or whatever it is. But I definitely could see Randall guarding Towns, considering that would have been his matchup on a normal occasion.
Yeah, I could agree. Do you think he gets it as an assignment for the entire game? Like that's his base assignment. I'd be afraid if I'm Tom Thibodeau. I don't want him to get in foul trouble early. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, and maybe it is better to have iHeart on Kyle Anderson if Kyle Anderson is not really, scoring the ball that way, and Karl Anthony Towns is, or maybe they, maybe they switch back and forth, or maybe we'll use Julius Randle on Karl Anthony Towns later in the game. You know what I'm saying? But still, Karl Anthony Towns is 7 foot. He can post. That could give Julius Randle some trouble too. You know what I mean? I said that's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting matchup to watch, situation to watch. The way that Tom Thibodeau decides to defend Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns, Cat is averaging 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game. I don't know if I think this is, so far this season, that's the best of his career, 5.5 assists. Shoot 48% from the field and 36.5% from the 3-point line. So we can have our hands full with Karl Anthony Towns, and he's only averaging a half a block a game this season, though. So. But that could be because Rudy Gobert is normally there, so he doesn't have to be the shot blocker. You know what I mean? Cornerstone, what's going on, man?
Hey guys, Mr. Sim, Mr. Tony Crow, Black is Time, Queen Miss Steph, and that person from Poland. I'm looking forward to this matchup. We need a road win. We haven't had a road win, going back to the preseason. So we need this win. And we're going through just matchups. My matchup is really Hartenstein against Towns, because I think Hartenstein is going to be up for the challenge for it. I really do.
He might be up for the challenge. That don't mean he can complete the challenge, though.
No, I don't know me. But see, the thing about it is, where we love Mitch so much, Mitch is still, not at that point where he can, create off his own shot, or, scoring the post. And we've seen Hartenstein do that. So that's the reason why I'm thinking that maybe Karl-Anthony Towns, will respect what, Hartenstein is going to be, giving out offensively. So I think that's a little bit of a plus for us, for tonight. I'm not saying that he's better than
we know.
Mitch at all. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Mitch?
crazy. I thought you meant Cat.
Oh, no. I know he's not. I know he's not better. I know he's not. Yeah, exactly.
Pluses and minuses across the board.
Right. But I'm looking forward to that matchup more. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, that's going to be an interesting matchup, without a doubt. Looking at the two teams, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks, they're averaging 114.4 points per game. Their record is 4-5. They're averaging 114.4 points per game, 49.4 rebounds, 24.6 assists, 14.9 turnovers. They've been turnover happy the past few games. 5.8 steals, 5.9 blocks per game. They're shooting 46.6% from the field, 33% from three, 75.3% from the free throw line. They're 15th in pace at 100.62, 17th in offensive rating at 111, and 17th in defensive rating at 112.8.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a disappointment, in my opinion. That's a disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, we're giving up more points per 100 possessions than we're scoring.
Yeah. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're 5-5 on the season. They're averaging 114.4 points per game as well. Averaging 46.8 rebounds a game, 26.2 assists. They're also turning the ball over, 16.1 turnovers per game, 7.8 steals, 5.4 blocks. They're shooting the ball at 47.1% from the field and 34.7% from three. They shoot 74.8% from the free throw line. They're fourth in pace at 102, basically 103. 19th in offensive rating at 110.3. And they're 9th in defensive rating at 109.2. They're currently 10th in the Western Conference. The Knicks are currently 7th in the Eastern Conference. Anything you take from those stats there, when it comes to just planning to play against this team? Steph, I'll start with you.
They're struggling from the 3-point line as well. They're also giving up, more points than they're holding teams to. I think they expected to be better than 5-5 coming into the season. Record wise and stat wise, it looked like it's a pretty even game. But we got to see. That's why we play them. We got to see how it works out.
Right, exactly. That's why we play them. Andy?
Well, we can see that they're definitely playing a faster paced game than the Knicks. The Knicks rank currently 15. They rank 4th. Listen, for me, I would be happier if the Knicks played faster. So I'm willing to see the Knicks play into the pace of the Timberwolves. And especially having Cam in the lineup instead of Fournier, I think that's an advantage for the Knicks as far as the pace goes. And listen, Sim, the 3-point shooting, if they're going to be hitting threes like the Celtics on a hot night, it's going to be really tough. But then again, it might be finally the Knicks' chance to have a hot night from three and get a W thanks to those perimeter
I
shots.
mean, hopefully it's their night to hit up. I mean, they shot well against Boston, but they only took 27 threes. Boston took 51. But they shot well. Will they get prolific? I don't know. Tony, any thoughts on these numbers here?
I mean, I didn't catch all of them, but I'll say this: if the starters can maintain, number one, we need to win that rebounding battle, right? Especially with the absence of Gobert, we need to win that rebounding battle. But if the starters can hold their own, right, or even play even with their starters, I think we have the advantage on the bench. And I think this could be one of those real breakout games for the bench.
Okay. Yeah, the bench hasn't been, they've been off and on, right? Off and on. It would be nice to see him have some kind of a breakout game. And maybe this is the night to do it. Let me see who is on their bench that we should really be concerned about. Pull their bench up really quick. Let's see. For the Timberwolves, you have Jordan McLaughlin, Nas Reed, Jalen Noel, Austin Rivers, Nathan Knight.
Austin Rivers, we should be afraid of. I'm just kidding.
Austin Rivers played 14 seconds the last game. Okay. Maybe that does mean we should be afraid of him. You know what I mean? Because it seems like that happens to the Knicks. Yeah. He's averaging 0 points, 0.4 rebounds, and 0.2 assists.
All right, man. Now I'm worried. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, he averages 0 points. There's no, like, he has nowhere to go but up.
No place to go but up, right?
It has to be us that he does it against too.
Jordan McLaughlin, he's averaging 4 points a game, 2 rebounds, 4 assists for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's see who else they got coming off the bench. Oh, they got Taurean Prince. He's averaging 8.7 points per game, 3 rebounds. I mean, you would think that our bench should have the advantage in this game.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. They should have the advantage.
But nothing comes easy.
No, nothing ever comes easy with this basketball team. We'll see if they actually take advantage of the advantages that they do have. I don't see. I agree with what you said, Steph. I don't see anything here that stands out as far as the Minnesota Timberwolves. The teams both are about the same. Timberwolves have played one more game than the Knicks. They're 5-5. The Knicks are 4-5. Things are probably not going the way that they expected it to go. I read somewhere it's just a headline. So I don't know what it's all about, but that Anthony Edwards said that there was some kind of strife or something going on with Minnesota. So I don't know if that is.
Did you see him? There's a video. Anthony Edwards is literally standing on the perimeter, like the 45 degree, and he's like putting his hands like this, and he watches the whole play. Guys running towards him, trying to make a screen, cutting, stuff like that. And he's just looking at the teammates where the ball is going to go. Okay, the guy's going to take a shot. Okay, he took a shot. The play is off. He literally is the last man to get back on the defensive end.
Huh.
There's text around the internet that he looks like he ran out of batteries and he was playing on PS whatever, and it was hilarious. It looks like he doesn't want to be there. So
yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Right now. Yep. He's just
Yeah.
standing.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Okay.
That ran out
That's
of
hilarious.
batteries in the controller. That's hilarious.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
But,
That's exactly what it looks like, though. He's just
Yeah.
standing with his hands on his hip, watching everything else go. Yeah.
What game are we on? Are we on game 10 or game 11?
We're on game 10. The
We're on
Knicks.
game 10.
Oh, game 10. That's a bad sign, in the beginning of the season, for you to be doing that in the very beginning of the season. That's
I mean, who knows?
that's not cool.
Yeah, who knows what's happening or going on internally? You know what I'm saying? Who
Yeah.
knows? I don't know. Let me give a couple of shout outs here. Parrish Duggar, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, you can cover up Cornerstone's face with that super chat. That's okay. He said, thank you for the super chat. He said, it takes time to verbally lead a team that had no leadership. Who led in the past? That's what Brunson is here and will do, but it's going to take time. I agree with you. It takes time, for all of those things to kind of fall in place. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with you. Takes
Hey,
time.
he's been a god. It's been a godsend with him, man. I knew you were high on him before, Sim. I see why. I mean, he's turning out to be that dude. I've seen him do stuff that I haven't seen our point guards do for years now.
Well, we haven't had point guards. We haven't had
exactly,
any good point
exactly,
guards. So,
exactly. So,
and that brings us to Eli Jets. He said, Frank, Alfred Payton, Cam Reddish, Lance Thomas, and Big Mitch starting for us tonight after our lackluster perimeter defense the last few games. I mean, they might shut down that perimeter defense to the opposing team, but we won't score. I can tell you that.
Well, the only points that we get points out of is Cam Reddish. That's it.
Maybe. I don't know. You have to run the triangle offense with that lineup or something like that.
No comment.
But the Knicks got to do something with that, with the perimeter defense, and hopefully they've stressed it a lot. You know what I mean?
How much space are you supposed to give your opponent when you're guarding the 3-point line?
Depends on who you're guarding. It depends on who you're guarding, Kev.
I mean, here's the
Kev,
thing.
if I'm guarding you, I'm gonna back all the way up to the foul line and dare you to shoot it.
That'd be dangerous.
Dare you to shoot it.
That'd be dangerous. That'd be dangerous. Even though we have a film, me making an air ball at the foul shot.
You see? You see? So I'm gonna back all the way up.
But it didn't look like Josh's air ball.
But I'm saying, if you have like a Morant or whoever that can break the defense down and then pass it out, how much space? That's what I'm asking. How much space are you supposed to give your opponent enough to recover?
If I'm guarding Ja Morant, right?
No. If you're guarding your opponent and Ja Morant is at the top and he's breaking it, he's passing. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at, because I'm trying to see why we are so freaking leaving guys open the way that they are.
Right. Well. Okay. So there's two things there. One, all right. If Ja Morant's at the top of the key, and then I'm guarding somebody on the wing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I might be. Well, if I'm guarding someone that's one pass away, I'm going to be denying the ball probably. Right. But if I'm like two passes away and I'm on the same side as Ja Morant, then I might be one or two steps away from the person I'm defending. Now, if Ja Morant penetrates, then I might have to step in to help cut off that penetration. I got to be ready to get back on my man. So, part of it is we got to stop penetration. You know what I mean? If they get deep penetration, someone's going to help, and they're going to help deep into the paint. Part of the problem we have is we have people sagging into the paint when they don't need to be sagging into the paint.
Okay.
Right? And like, if you look at the video, Obi Toppin, the ball was on the opposite side of the floor. And I do understand that Grant Williams was there, but he was all the way in the paint with his back turned towards Hauser.
He was behind the backboard thing even.
Yeah, I mean, with his back turned towards Hauser. So he couldn't see if Hauser was going to relocate or what. right? And the ball was on the opposite side of the floor. He could have had 1 foot in the paint, 1 foot outside the paint, a hand on Grant Williams. Now he's ready to react with wherever the pass goes. Instead, the pass goes out to Hauser. He's got to turn around all the way around 180 to find out where Hauser is and then go out to contest him. Not enough time to get out there. And that's what happens. We got guys sagging in the paint that don't need to be in the paint. And then that ball gets reversed or cross-court pass or whatever it is, and we're in trouble.
So that's more of a mental thing that's going on with with an Obi, with the Randall, and pretty much the entire team, because I'm sure they're being drilled this in practice, correct, in film session.
Hopefully, that's the thing. Hopefully, they're being drilled in practice or whatever. Hopefully the coaches see it and say, "Hey, you got to flatten out, be able to see the person that you're defending, as well as where the ball is, and et cetera, et cetera."
And then the other thing is they'll play great defense. Oh, I'm sorry. Who?
No, go. Finish.
They'll play great defense and we'll be up so many points, and then let the team back in, and then then they got the lead back. And I mean the other team will have the lead, and it's hard for us to get back because we fall into those same deficiencies on defense where we was doing good in the beginning of the game.
Yeah. And the Knicks just don't have the firepower if a team is really, really hot. I just don't think we have a firepower to keep up. Go ahead, Steph.
We don't. I was going to just talk about, I think for some players, it may be the defensive IQ, because some of this stuff is basic. Like you see a player double teaming a small person in the post, and you go to double team with your back to a 3-point. Who's more deadly, the 3-point shooter you were guarding or the person in the post in this particular? So some of it is just defensive IQ. Right. These guys just don't get it. And
so they should be just staying home, right? They should just be staying home.
Or hedge a little bit or dig down a little bit, but a full out double team when the defender is not even at a disadvantage. Like, and let me tell you something. You talk about a coach's hair going gray, is these people with poor defensive IQs or poor basketball IQs, and you're telling them the same thing over and over, and you're showing them in practice, and they don't get it, but they're your best option.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. You can lose it. Right. Yeah. You feel helpless.
I mean, some of this stuff is basic basketball.
Right. Tony, you was about to say something?
Yeah, I gotta get out of here. I just want to say, glad you back. Appreciate you always. Queen, I see you at 5:30. Open invite. Anybody want to join? Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time.
All right. Appreciate you, Tony.
Black is time.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, and Sim, just going back to Steph, what Steph said, that this is basic basketball. Listen, always, at least from kids' days, right? You could sag off your defender, but when the pass is going towards your defender, you got to be at least arm's length, close to him.
Right.
So if you're slow on defense, you can be that good of a help defender. But then again, that's not your guy. So you're just helping. You can't afford your guy to beat you, because then you look bad on defense.
Right. So and when that ball, like you said, if you're in the help side position, the ball's on the opposite side of the floor. When it swings to one person, you take a step closer. Man. Well, you take one step closer towards your defender. Swings to another person, you take another step closer towards your defender, the person you're defending. Now, by the time the ball gets there, you don't got to take this sprint from the paint all the way out to the 3-point line. You're just taking a couple steps. You're right there. Yeah, I mean, and that's simple stuff. Simple stuff. Let me get to a phone call real quick. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yes, my name is George, and I'm from the Bronx.
What's going on, George? How you feeling? Glad you called in. Appreciate you.
I'm feeling good, but listen, I think y'all being a little bit too hard on the Knicks. Okay, Golden State won championships shooting threes. They have changed the game. There is no team in the league that have learned how to shut them down, to shut down shooters. The Boston Celtics shot a franchise high the other night. Okay, the Knicks did the best that they could. A lot of shots was contested. Yeah, there was those who wasn't, but a lot was. When they hitting, bruh.
So you
there
don't
wasn't
think
nothing they can do about that.
So you don't think all of those wide open threes by Jaylen Brown with no one within 5 feet in front of him helped the Boston Celtics to shoot well?
And get hot?
Because
Yeah.
there were
No.
a lot of shooters that were wide open on the
They
Celtics.
shot over 50%.
Right?
They was
Yeah,
hitting.
but out of that 50%, how much of that was uncovered, where the man wasn't on him?
Pull up the numbers. You got the numbers, Sim.
I mean,
Pull 'em up.
I don't know. We'd have to go back and look and see how many of those guys were wide open and uncovered. But there were a lot of 3-point baskets where the Knicks they might have been running to contest it, but the guy had enough time to line it up and bam, because they were not getting the pick and roll and the pick and pop. They were getting confused all night long. And guys were shooting
Because
with
they
somebody
was
running
protecting
after
the
them.
paint.
Right. But
They was protecting the paint.
But that led to Boston. That leads to Boston shooting the ball well, I feel. Some of it wasn't just protecting the paint, though. Some of it was really the pick and pop. Like,
Yep.
It was all on the perimeter. No one even penetrated. I would say 50% of those made three-pointers didn't come from a guard penetrating to the basket, but it came from a guard getting a screen, coming off the screen, and then kicking it to the roller because he had two guys that came with him. And so somebody else was wide open at the top of the key or on the wing or wherever. It's tough. I think they got us. I get it. They shot well. They might not shoot that well again, but I think part of it is the Knicks' defense too.
Yep.
But see, also we scored 118 points. So if the Celtics would have missed a few more shots, we could have won that game, right?
If they missed them, but I don't want to depend on them missing a wide open shot. I want to be there and try to force them to miss that shot.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. Okay,
Yeah.
but it's not like we just caught them on a hot night.
I just
Maybe.
don't know.
See,
We
I just
caught them
don't.
on a hot night on a franchise. We caught them on a night when they set a franchise record. This is not their regular thing.
But you don't
Okay.
think the Knicks has something to do with them being hot?
Yeah, we benched Fournier, Steph. We already acknowledged that.
It's not totally. Listen, we did the best we could.
Okay,
They
let
were
me ask
hitting.
you.
I hear
Okay,
you.
let me ask you a question. You said that they had that Boston was just hot that night. How do you explain our loss against
Right.
how do you explain our loss against Cleveland?
Cleveland was hitting. When teams are hitting, the game has changed. All right, let me reiterate that. The game have changed. You have teams that can beat you down with the three-pointers. This
Okay.
is what Steph Curry and his
Clay.
mob has done. The Splash Brothers, they changed the game. It's no
Okay.
stopping that.
But
Okay. So let me ask you this. All right. So you're saying that Cleveland got hot. There was only one guy that was really hitting, really good against us, and that was Kevin Love. So you're telling me that we couldn't have done a better job on Kevin Love than what transpired?
Yes, we could have. Yes, we could have because we was winning
Okay,
that game.
That's
Yes,
what
we
we're-
could have.
Okay, and that's what I'm getting at. We're letting guys and teams get off too much on the three point, and not really giving a constant effort on guarding it.
And George, I do agree with you. The game has definitely changed, right? It's all about either getting straight to the basket or knocking down that three. Teams are shooting more. The Celtics shot 51 threes. They only took 88 shots. 51 of them were threes.
Right.
Right.
And 51 of them was threes.
And if a team is making 50% of their threes, and you could, that's a lot of points that
That's
they're
what I'm
putting
saying.
up. So
That's
I definitely
the
agree.
only point that I'm making.
Okay. I definitely agree with that. But you got to find a way to defend it. You got to figure out either you
Who's
got.
our defensive stopper? Who's our best defensive player?
I mean, that's
It's
George, you
I don't
send
know
in
who our
someone
best-
to
I don't know.
to foul him or whatever. At
Well-
that point,
What? What's this? RJ or Cam? Who is it? Who are we going to designate that to?
was
I guess RJ or Cam, one of those two guys. But the thing is, we got to figure out how do we stop it? Because if not, we're going to be in trouble because we can't shoot that well.
Exactly.
We can't keep up with these guys shooting that
Right.
at that clip. But Boston, they are a championship team. You know,
Yes.
but we're hoping to get there.
They
We're hoping to
were
get
2
there.
games away from having it all.
Yeah.
You know, we played them well. I'm not taking. Listen, that was a hard L. That was a hard L. But we played them
No, we did.
very well.
Nah.
Yeah, we
There was
played
some.
very
There was
well.
some
It's
good
just that-
things to
played them
take
very
out of
well.
it.
With
There
the
was some.
personnel that we have, we played them very well. As a matter of fact, every game we have played this year, we have played very well. We was in it.
I would say on the offensive side, we played them well up until we stalled out. Right. On the defensive side, I can't say
Got tired.
I don't think we played them well on the defensive side. On the offensive side, you know, we were okay. We just don't have enough firepower to allow a team to shoot the way that they shot and think we're going to be able to win it. But George, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for the call.
I appreciate
Appreciate
y'all
you,
too.
bro. Appreciate
I
you.
love you, Queen.
Appreciate you.
My man Josh.
All
Uncle
right, okay.
Fulio.
Take care.
Uncle Fulio said that Boston game was not an anomaly as far as how the Knicks covered threes. It's been a problem the entire season with or without Mitch. We need to tighten up. I agree. I mean, we got to
Absolutely.
figure out how to tighten up those defending the perimeter, man. It's been an issue all season long. As far as winning this basketball game, Andy, I'll start with you. What do you think we need to do to win this game?
Well, first of all, I think we gotta stop Cat because the offense is going through him more and more. That shows in the numbers, 5.5 assists, if I'm correct. You said before, it's his career high. That means the ball is running through him. We have a chance on the offensive end thanks to the absence of Rudy Gobert. I just hope that I think that the coaching staff is prepared for this game and prepared the players. I just hope there's not a guy again that plays first game versus the Knicks and is gonna have that 16 17 point game. It's not even 20, right? But you're expecting a guy from the bench to score 16 17 on you. Meanwhile he averages like 3.5 points. And you're going to be hopeless then because, the whole scheme is going to be, okay, we're going to drop off this guy and help out versus that guy. And, I just hope there's not going to be any wild surprises, on their, side of the game. And if everybody plays their game, I feel we can get a W here.
Okay. That'd be good. Steph, your thoughts on what we need to do to win this game?
You muted, Steph?
Sweetie, you're muted.
We can talk about Minnesota, but I think it's really about what we need to do. We need to play good perimeter defense. We need to rebound. We need to score. We need to have our top 3 players play well in the same game like they did against Boston. We cannot have quarter droughts. One quarter we scored 16 points. Another quarter in another game we scored, 10 points.
Right.
In a quarter. We cannot have those quarter droughts because, to your point, Sim, we're not a great offensive team. We can be shooting well for a while, and then the next thing you know, the clock strikes 12 and we can't hit anything.
Yep.
So, which is why we really need a good defense because our offense is just not fine-tuned
Consistent.
and consistent and
Yeah.
fine-tuned right now. No doubt about it. So all 3 of them have to play well. We need to get contributions from our bench. Whoever is playing Cat, listen, you can't stop him, but you have to contain him. He can't have 43 points, 17 rebounds, hit 5 threes. Like that cannot happen, right? And and we got to trust Tibbs, or Tibbs got to be on point, in terms of those rotations. When do you go with small ball? When do you have to bring Sims in? What do how are we? If somebody gets hot, what are we gonna do?
Right.
Yeah.
Cav, what the Knicks got to do, man?
Pretty much what the Beauty and the Beast said.
Why are you coming at Andy today? What's going on?
I was gonna say he's coming at Steph, but
Steph, no, that ain't true. Know that. He deserves it. But anyway,
I hear you.
yeah. pretty much what everybody said. We got I want to see our 3-point defense really improve, because that's really where the damage I think is really being said. Again, I think that if Cat gets it in the post, I I have to believe that we'll be able to hold our own with that, to contain him, not to stop him, to contain him. Um, and I just honestly, I want to see RJ pass a little bit more when there's like a break going on, because you've seen like a 3-on-2 or a 3 or whatever, and he'll try and take it himself and not pass to like either an Obi or even Cam, for that, for that shot. And they're I think they have a more high percentage shot than when RJ's going in and he's got defenders all around him. He's got to pass it out more. That's all I'm saying, with that. So
I
um
agree.
yeah, so just improve on the defensive, guarding the three, and I need RJ to start passing just a little bit more, because again, when I went to that Philly game when he was just a rookie, um um Randall did the same thing to him. So it seems like history is kind of, repeating itself a little bit. I need RJ just to pass a little bit
I
more.
don't think that's what
I
they're asking them to do, though.
Hmm.
They better though, Sim. They
Yeah,
better,
should.
because it's looking like he's stat padding, and
Mm.
not gonna lie, Sim. When the game is lost, like even versus the Boston, like
Uh-huh.
last minute and a half, he's on the court and he ain't passing the ball.
Nah, I agree. I agree. I'm
and that's
just
the
wondering
problem.
if they told him, "Hey, we want you to you go score." I'm wondering if that's what they told him, because I've seen RJ take some shots this year that I didn't see him taking it past, that I thought were just bad shots. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Why are you taking these shots? And I'm wondering if this is what they're telling him, or he's just trying to feel himself a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. Or
I'm
he's
gonna go
getting
to yeah.
concerned that his usage rate is down
Mm.
a little bit, and
His
that
numbers.
his numbers are down, and he's going to have to put up more shots. What I will say, these past few games, he had 6 turnovers, but he had, I believe, 4 assists the last 2 games. So I think he's making a concerted effort to pass the ball, play more within the flow of the offense. But the decision he's making with the ball, you
Yes.
know, is
Yes.
bad. But he's making those turnovers trying to pass to a
Right.
teammate, and it's getting deflected or it's
Right.
getting stolen. Whereas before it was low turnover because he wasn't passing it to turn it over. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right. Right.
I do see him making more of a concerted effort to pass the
Okay.
ball.
Okay. Good. All right. My key matchup. I don't know if it's the key matchup of the game, but it's probably the matchup people want to see. It's R.J. Barrett and Anthony Edwards, right? Just because of the
Yeah, I do too.
just
Yes.
just because of the history between the two. R.J.'s averaging 19.3 points a game, 5.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, shooting 43.6% from the field and 27.5% from three, which is up from 14%. He's shooting 81.1% from the free throw line. Anthony Edwards, he's averaging 22.8 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 3.8 assists, shooting 46.3% from the field and 36.7% from the 3-point line, and he's shooting 65.8% from the free throw line. So, we'll be watching that matchup a little bit. Obviously, I think I do agree with you, though, Steph, that it might be Cam Reddish that's guarding Anthony Edwards, as kind of the base defense. But yeah, that's my matchup of the night. I think the Knicks can win this basketball game. If
That's a winnable game.
if they can play some defense, don't let the Minnesota Timberwolves get hot from three. At least just keep them at their average. I think the Knicks will have a chance to win this
Right.
basketball game tonight.
I agree.
Yeah.
And Sam, even though Cam may be start on Anthony Edwards, there'll be enough switches to
Yeah.
see this matchup.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah. Without
And
a doubt.
Absolutely.
Sim, I'll even add that I would rather have Cam just for the purposes that if the Ant-Man scores, RG doesn't go right back at him because he's not going to have him in his face.
Right.
Because that's going to trigger RJ, and I see really bad habits coming from RJ, this season.
Yeah.
So it started late last season, but this year he's getting on my nerves a little bit.
People are commenting on how big RJ. Like I was at the open practice. He doesn't look big, man. Sometimes the camera could put 5 pounds on you.
Right.
But, but when I saw him in person, he did not look big at all.
Yeah, I didn't think he looked big either.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You see me right now. When you see me in person, I'm 6'5", right? Never mind. Don't answer
centimeters,
that.
right?
Don't answer that.
Centimeters.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
Yeah. Any predictions on the night, Kev?
I think we get our first road victory of the season.
We won at
We
Philly.
won in
Kevin.
Philly.
You're not paying attention,
We
bro.
sure did. God darn it. Okay. Yes. Okay. We win tonight. I keep forgetting we won in Philly and everything. Dang. I'm getting too old.
Yeah. So you say we get our second road win in the road victory of the season. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have our first victory in Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but we won. We've won. Since Randall's been on the team, we've won in Minnesota, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Nobody's gonna remember that.
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. Steph, any predictions for the night?
You know what? I think we win. I've seen some good things offensively between Randall, RJ, and Brunson. So if they do that again tonight, I think offensively we'll do well. Defensively, hopefully they fixed what they needed to fix. But
Right.
This is not a scary team, Minnesota. I don't think the Knicks have given up by any stretch. So I have the Knicks winning.
Yeah. Andy?
Yeah, I got the Knicks winning, and it's really going to be only thanks to the pace of the Timberwolves. I think it's going to benefit more the Knicks than it's going to, the Knicks are going to feel way more, fresh on the offensive end playing versus the Timberwolves instead of, slowing down the pace on purpose and trying to, play their pace and set up the whole game on their pace.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that the fast pace is going to be run by Brunson. He's not going to slow down the pace that much, and it's going to benefit the Knicks.
Okay. All right. I think the Knicks are going to get the win tonight as well. I just don't think Minnesota is going to be able to shoot as well as a team like Boston or even Philly. And I think it's going to benefit the Knicks in that. Well, obviously, it would benefit the Knicks. I think they probably will have some trouble with Cat tonight. I think, RJ Barrett will probably, whatever point production that Anthony Edwards puts up, I think RJ Barrett can kind of match it. And then, we'll hope that Jalen Brunson can do his thing tonight. And I think the Knicks will get the win.
Real quick, between the three of y'all, any concerns about Derrick Rose?
I thought he looked okay the last game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought his speed was, he looked like he had a little bit more pop.
Okay.
Rounding in the shape. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you later on tonight. I guess the post-game show will be like midnight or something like that. So I guess I will catch you then. And we out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.